let's put the best players of the 2010s into a tier list. First off, obviously we got LeBron and Curry in S tier, right?
Easily.
They're the two best players of that era, in my opinion.
Exactly. Faces of a generation.
You don't even got to throw in my opinion. They're clearly the guys of the 2010s. They're the defining characters of this story.
Absolutely.
After that, Kevin Durant. Also belong in S tier?
I think so.
The hater in me wants to put him in A tier.
That'd be some hating that shit.
He's in S tier. Put him there. Whatever. You want an MVP?
Yeah. Clearly in the same upper echelon of the top 3 players of the generation, you know. However you feel about his resume or accomplishments, we know he's Kevin Durant. What do you want to do with Carmelo Anthony?
Ooh, he's not S. Can't be A.
Can't be A?
Cannot be A. No. Zero chance.
He can't be A.
What's holding him back from A?
Not enough
be.
personal success or accolades or awards. Hasn't seen any winning at all. Nothing but like disappointment filled throughout his entire career in the 2010s. He can't be A. I think
Damn,
he could
Donovan
be
can't even vouch
at
for A?
tops, though.
No argument for it, Donovan?
Listen,
As the resident Carmelo lover?
he's a bag chaser. So like that comes with trade-offs, right? You got your bag,
true.
but
I will not turn down $28 million as well. I don't blame you, Carmelo.
exactly. If you were a professional basketball player and I said, would you rather $30 million a year or being A-level in a TD3 tier list in 10 years? I think I might pick 30 million a year. So
Okay, so B tier for Carmelo? Does he deserve that?
He made his choice. He's living with it. I'm putting him in B.
There you
TB3
go.
tier list hold weight though, but I'll let you rock.
Where we go with DeMarcus Cousins?
Probably
Lower
C.
than Melo, probably.
Yeah, probably C. Injuries got to him. He never really was able to be in like a true like winning situation.
He might be
And
D, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
at least like at his peak. By the time he got to the Warriors and the Bucks and all that, he was cooked, right?
Those
He's
years
in-
don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see D. I mean, listen, we're comparing him to the other best players generation, so these are all great.
Exactly.
I maybe D. Listen, he didn't do any winning. Got cooked early, like you said. And when he was at his peak, he was the best center in the league, but in the era with the worst center play you've ever seen.
His competition, no, say their names. It was Roy Hibbert, great dude, but doesn't belong to be in the best centers conversations at all. DeAndre Jordan, great player, of course, still playing today, but that was his competition.
Prime Clint Capella.
Talk about Al Horford. All right, that was his competition.
Hey, to 2017, Al Horford was a problem. He was
Hey.
nice.
Who you telling?
But no, I guess we can go D for Boogie, but we might move him up to C later on, depending on how it shakes out.
I agree.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving. Had
His
one of the
career
biggest
in
moments.
2010s.
Had one of the biggest moments of the decade. Individually, as not a one option, but best 2 option we've seen maybe in this generation.
Okay, so if we go in the 2010s, the first 4 years of the decade, or I guess 3 years because he was drafted in 2011, the first half of the 2010s, out the window. Like he's cool, but that's just highlight tape Kyrie. He has 2 years.
He was
Exactly.
a rich man, Jordan Poole.
Exactly. He has the years with Bron, they get a championship. After that, finishes the decade, setting teams on fire, left and right. So I don't think that he can be S tier. If you want to say A tier just because of that moment, I guess, but I'll probably go B.
Yeah, I'm
I
thinking
think
B.
B's
There's
fair.
the really low lows, but the highs make him neutral B tier.
Yeah.
Now, if you just showed someone his highlight tape against Brandon Knight and also the 2016 finals, you can convince me S. But sadly, those other years exist.
Yeah, you show him the Rising Stars game that he was in, then all of a sudden we're looking at S tier talent.
I might think he'd a GOAT.
All right, next up, Christopher Emmanuel Paul.
Ooh.
Lob City was a moment. A lot of choking moments, but it was a moment.
Lob City was a moment. What he did with the Houston Rockets back in 2018, really challenging the Warriors. Like
That's a high.
an accomplishment within itself, to be honest with you. Didn't he drop like
Whack.
40 and 10 in a
Whack.
pivotal
He
game
was
against them too?
He was great in 2018. Like it's a tragedy his hamstring ruined that team's title chances, but he was legitimately great that year.
We'll go ahead.
yeah.
But
We'll go ahead.
can you put him above Kyrie? He's a better player than Kyrie, was leading a team better, but doesn't have a chip. Do you have to have a chip to be A tier?
I think
No.
because of the consistency that he showed of just like elevating any area that he touches, I personally feel like he belongs in A.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Yeah, he's like, he's very clearly a better player than Kyrie. So I'm putting him
Yeah.
in.
And that's going to piss some people off. I know all of the young fans, I'll say that, love Kyrie. I know he's the most skilled player of all time, whatever. If you want to win basketball games and you have to pick one player to lead your team to, start from scratch, you're going to pick Chris Paul. He consistently gets you in the playoffs, consistently builds productive offenses. It's easily Chris Paul.
Exactly.
He never misses.
Damian Lillard. Interesting, incredibly talented. Accolades in the 2010s. Couple cool game-winning shots and a Rookie of the Year.
He's B tier.
And one beard grown.
He's B tier.
Okay, now I'm starting to think we're doing the thing that Isaac was saying, like, we have two. We should utilize the spaces. Is Damian Lillard the same tier as Carmelo Anthony?
The exact same.
Yeah, I was just saying it's like the same guy.
What makes them the same guy though?
They are the exact same. They are both high volume scorers who like had one run to the Western Conference Finals and then a lot of disappointing losing years on a team that wasn't really going anywhere. Yeah, they are the same exact player.
They both have great individual production that went nowhere fast for a variety of reasons. Mostly their supporting talent around them, especially in Damian Lillard's case. I think but we can nitpick flaws in Carmelo again all we want, but that's neither here nor there. But either way, they couldn't really accomplish anything despite their immense talent. B seems fair.
Who was the better player?
Listen,
boy, here we go.
That's a conversation for another day. Let's get through this.
It's Damian Lillard. I think we should drop Carmelo, to be honest with you.
We asked Modest Buzelis. It's obviously Carmelo.
5 low score. Whatever.
5 level score. Generational. Dimension breaking.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Exactly.
We should circle back to that though.
We're not going to circle back.
We're not circling back to that.
Cut the corporate talk. We're done.
I've had enough Carmelo Anthony debates with Donovan in my day. I've had enough.
I'm sick of the
Kawhi Leonard.
He gets A tier. He has 2 Finals MVPs. He led the Raptors to a championship, right?
Should he be S?
No.
I was gonna say, like, maybe why not S?
Stop.
Yeah, like two
Finals MVPs in a decade. Who else has that besides the guys in S?
God.
Yeah.
Why is that crazy? His biggest injury issues happened after that, right? In the Clippers, which was mostly failure. That's the 2020s.
He missed a full year in San Antonio, right?
He played 7 more. Like one missed year. KD missed a year.
He missed it. First, well, KD's missed year was in 2020. It was half and half. But anyways,
He missed a year where he hurt his foot too. Didn't
Something
he?
happened to his
but
foot, too.
Kawhi comes in. Kawhi comes in. Even in 2014, whenever he gets the Finals MVP, he still wasn't Kawhi Leonard. Like he was a very good player, and they were doing the thing where whoever could hold LeBron to 33 instead of 35 gets the Finals MVP. So there's that, and then it still takes like a year and a half before he becomes Kawhi Leonard and this like 26 point per game score. There's a very, very short period out of the entire decade of the 2010s that he is this like S tier apex predator. He's A tier with Chris Paul.
Well, so it's 2016, 17. He misses 18. The 19 and 20 is when he's a true S tier level talent. Is 4 years of being as dominant as anybody enough? Like, not everybody's gonna have 1 through all 10 years of it being elite, but for what he did in that small time span, I feel like there's an argument.
For the other 3 guys, it's leader of a dynasty, arguably the greatest player of all time, and then secondary piece to that dynasty. They also have the longevity while also being at one point.
If you want to
best
tuck in longevity
from
to
start
that,
to
I can
finish.
100% agree with that argument.
Okay, well then can Chris Paul be in the same tier as Kawhi Leonard?
That sounds disgusting, but I think they are on the same tier for different reasons. Like they
Yeah.
both have their own strengths within their arguments. But it does feel
2019
disgusting.
is crazy. Like having one crazy run matters a lot.
I understand that, but he's not. The other 3 guys are the standard for the entire generation. That I just don't think that Kawhi was for as long as you need to be on that top level.
You're right. Whenever
Okay, we
people
can go
think
into
about this generation, this era, people are immediately talking about Steph, KD, and LeBron. Like, there's a reason why Kawhi is not brought up as much is because there's not as the level of consistency of just being that dude, apex predator, like you said, and just dominant isn't there. You have your blips through the timeline, and I think that's fair to put him in A tier.
John Wall.
Listen, put him with his Kentucky brother, D tier.
D or C. Probably in C, to be honest with you, because he did have that moment against the Boston Celtics. Took out his jersey.
In what?
Was yelling at a bunch of
In
white
what?
people.
In the first round? In the second
Yeah.
round? Like,
It was impressive.
no.
I mean, that's bigger moments than Boogie ever had in the playoffs.
Exactly. And no,
I'm not putting
yeah.
anybody. Okay, listen, it's C tier, but like, what else? I'm not gonna go crazy about it, but C tier, I guess.
Yeah, C
Yeah,
tier
I
for
mean,
sure.
John Wall was great. He had a high peak.
He can't be on the
He's
same
similar
tier
to
as
Boogie.
DeMarcus Cousins. That should be clear. He cannot
Yes,
be on the same
he
tier.
can. But injuries ruined both of them in the latter half. I feel like he would have had more winning, which maybe it's not his fault. Maybe the teams around Boogie weren't quite good enough. But I feel like John Wall's peaks contributing to winning were a little bit better than Boogie's. But just a little bit, just for C tier. We're not going crazy with it or anything.
All right,
Yeah.
he got it.
DeMar DeRozan.
Put him in C tier as well, I guess.
That is
'Cause-
absolutely C tier. This is the most average star player you can imagine. And I say
What?
that because star player, he's still a star, right? So he's still very impressive. But in the hierarchy of the top players in the league, DeMar DeRozan's right there in the middle.
Yeah. Now we have to respect his longevity and how long he's been doing it for.
sure.
Especially like how we ascended to all-star level throughout those Toronto years. Very respectable, impressive, but he's never been he never broke the game of basketball or had game-breaking moments. Even like Melo, Kyrie, and Dame at that level. So for sure, C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler.
Whew. Okay.
That's hard. He ascended in the second half of the decade.
Yeah.
The 76ers had their best year under Joel Embiid with him there. He turned around the Timberwolves, brought them to the finals. Brought them to the playoffs after a long drought.
He can't be
B
B.
tier?
If
No.
we're saying of the 2010s, he can't be any higher. B is the absolute highest that he can be. And even,
For sure.
And even then, I think it's a stretch because
Yeah.
the finals runs, all the stuff that we think about Jimmy Butler comes 2020 and later.
I agree.
And the beginning part of the decade, he's a 3-and-D guy who's just really working his way up the depth chart, he's on the grind doing all that stuff. You don't really get to see Jimmy Butler be Jimmy Butler until, like you said, 2018, and then he gets hurt. So I would for the 2010s, honestly, I would put him in D.
I was gonna say C. He is still a 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-Defense. 2018, he was on the MVP ballot, even though it was just 10th. One of the better two-way players of that generation when he was a little bit younger. I feel like C's fair.
Is there a world where he could be D though?
Why would he be
in
D?
just
I mean,
in just that span? Yeah.
He had the Minnesota year, took them to the playoffs, and then 3 Chicago All-Star years. Feels like
Okay.
C to me.
Okay, I guess that could be C.
We're just singling out Boogie.
Yeah,
That
it
feels,
sucks.
that feels a bit high.
We'll reassess at the end. Maybe we'll discuss this C tier a little more. C and B maybe might have some movers.
Exactly.
James Harden.
He can go A tier. Like he got it. He got an MVP. He is one of the most, I don't know. Just put him in there. I don't even want to.
We know what you're
Just
saying.
put him
Like
in
the
there.
passing,
Just put
the
him in there.
scoring, the combination of that.
Yeah, thoughts?
He averaged 36 points in
You
a
say it.
season, dog. We understand. We could just put him in A tier.
Donovan's so fresh about James Harden, he can't even get it out. He's like,
Yeah.
let me relitigate this.
Scars.
He's been through this discourse.
Yeah.
He's a veteran.
Much too many.
But yeah, I guess I get it. If we're reserving S tier for the truly greatest players of the generation, James Harden is just right below that. He's good enough to be S tier, but just never got it done like those guys did.
Yeah, feels like he belongs in the exact same range as Kawhi Leonard for sure.
Paul George.
Hey,
I would say-
2018 MVPG. That was a
Oh my
memory for
God.
a lifetime. What he did early in those Indiana days, good God, bro. You guys might want me to shut the hell up because I'll put him in S tier so fast.
Yeah. Zip it. Are we going B or A, Donovan? As rational adults. I'm thinking B.
I'm actually thinking A.
A?
Ooh, no.
He's- I mean-
Okay, I love him, but let's relax.
Nah, James Harden. If James Harden's A, Paul George has to be B. James Harden's another level, and Kawhi.
Yeah.
These guys are MVPs and Finals MVPs. Paul George got to be B.
Then do we have to drop Chris Paul?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
no.
Because
CP3 has to stay.
that's where I was drawing the line because I was like,
Yes,
because I was like, listen, Paul George was leading a team to number 1 seeds. He was leading teams to the conference finals multiple times just one time in Indiana. But He had a top 3 MVP finish in OKC. If that's kind of the resume, you can kind of put that up against Chris Paul's resume, and
Damn.
it can kind of be there.
You're right. Let's make them both B. They both got to be B.
No, they're both B. Then Carmelo Anthony got a drop too, bro. What are we talking about? let me not. Let's circle back. Oh, wait.
If Carmelo drops, Jimmy Butler has to drop. That's all I'm saying. If we drop Melo to
Like,
C,
Carmelo can
which is
stay.
absolutely disrespectful, Jimmy Butler has to drop.
Carmelo can stay just because I don't want to get into it.
Well, Jimmy Butler has to drop. John Wall has to drop.
Russell Westbrook. Are we looking at A for Russell Westbrook?
Yes, we are.
There you go. Put the MVP in A. Honestly,
simple.
I think this is very fair. The 3 goats of the generation are S tier. The 3 guys below that who are incredibly accomplished in their own right, but don't have the full package, A. All the really talented guys that never quite got it done, B. Besides Kyrie, who got it done, but also we know what Kyrie did after that. And then C, the solid stars. And then, did we just bump Boogie up to C?
No, hell no. Boogie's a great player.
Damn. That
Nah,
was
he
very
can't be.
impassioned.
I didn't know you hated DeMarcus.
No, I
Cousins.
never hated him, but it's like his prime in the 2010s wasn't as impactful. The winning wasn't there. Obviously, it was out of his hands, but more so how long his prime was, how he got cut off due to those injuries.
You know what?
Not his fault, but
I think we should put John Wall down to D. I think we put John Wall down to D and it's fair.
There we go. There we go.
Because John Wall also got ruined by injuries. Then now it feels right.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah, this feels perfect. I don't know. Anything else we could quibble over?
Is Westbrook really like? Does he deserve to be an A tier compared to like?
You don't want to get me going. You don't want to get me going, Westbrook.
Okay. Next angle.
Nah,
Chris
keep
Paul,
going.
does he really deserve to be in B tier? Like I
Yeah,
think,
yeah. I mean, if Kawhi and James Harden are A, Chris Paul has to be a level below them, I think.
Wait, so Isaac, you actually think that Russ should be in B?
No. I'm just.
Nah, you do. You just don't want to get
No,
into it.
I know I don't. I don't. I mean, the
Okay.
MVP. He's an MVP. If you're everybody below him doesn't have an MVP, so I think that's fair enough to go to A.
I bet.
what
'Cause,
about
I
his
mean,
efficiency?
if it
Isaac?
was just caliber of player, then yes, absolutely. But if we're bringing in resume plus how good and impactful we think they are, the resume pushes them up a little bit.
All right.
Fair.
Good tier list.
We wanna
Perfect
tug the
tier list,
hater
here
in
we
you
go.
So much.
So don't give me a chance to hate. You know I'm gonna take it on.